Live from New York, it's Ask These Engineers.
Hey everybody, welcome to a Valentine's Day special edition Ask Engineers. We have twice the engineers for you today. Me, Lady Ada, with us, Carol Willing, which is Pythonista on Python Foundation. And of course we have Phil on camera control.
Hello.
He's also useful too. Once in a while. No, just kidding. Love you. We got an exciting show for you tonight. All sorts of wonderful, lovely new products, news, demos, conversational hearts. I'm going to wear my special Python hat. It's a Python. It's Python themed.
I didn't realize that before.
It's Python themed, but it's not just Pythons. We got all sorts of things going on. So, Mr. Lady Ada, why don't you kick it off with today's exciting show?
That's right. On tonight's show, the code is Athens. 10% off the native store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll tell you why the code is Athens later. Fun story. It supports us, an open source hardware company in New York City. These are some of the people that work here. Write the code, kit the kits, ship products.
We do it all here.
Good stuff.
Well, we're wearing cool blue outfits.
Show and tell. People around the world showing and sharing projects. Later, I'll talk about who's on the show and tell. Packet of Mailbag will stop by. Read your letters to us. Time travel. Look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, and engineers. Made in New York City. Some factory footage and more. 3D printing. We'll have some new products. We'll answer your questions on Discord. Head over there now, adafruit.it/Discord. We'll have some top secret, and we'll give away something tonight. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Yay!
Okie dokie. Well, let's pay some bills, Lady Ada. Code's Athens. 10% off. There's free stuff in the store. Do you want to talk about free deals?
Yes. We have freebies going on still while supplies last. $99 or more will get a free Permaproto half-size breadboard added to your order at no cost to you. $199 or more in your order, we will get free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States of America. $299 or more, we'll toss in our Circuit Playground board. It's an all-in-one learning platform. You can run Arduino, MakeCode, or CircuitPython on it. It's chock full of LEDs and sensors and goodies, all that and more. Every time you order one level, you get everything on the previous level. So if you order $299, you'll get everything you see here. And you get that cool truck. And that's our freebies.
Okay. We have shipping to a bunch of different locations now.
Nice.
UPS, that's probably the best form of shipping. We also have postal and DHL for international.
Yeah.
Additionally, if you order before 11 a.m. in Manhattan and it's one of the zip codes and it's before 11, you can get it same day delivery. That's handy, especially when you're an advertising agency and you're like, oh my gosh, client coming in, need all these NeoPixels. That's pretty much how it goes.
Yay.
Yeah, Lady Ada, we have a show and tell. We do this every week, Wednesday, 7:30. Who's on the show and tell this week?
We had all sorts of people. From Adafruit, we had John Park showed off his Hollow Book project. He did a little guide on how to make a Hollow Book and also how to use a Circuit Playground to add an alarm to that Hollow Book so you'll know if someone's been sneaking around in your secret stash of goodies. He also shows how to use the Haven program from Freedom of the Press Foundation. It runs on an old Android phone and it basically makes a little security device out of an old phone that you may have or someone may be able to give you. Just some good projects for learning how to be a sneaky spy person, care about your security. Noah and Pedro showed off this week's CircuitPython project. It's a Big Mac inspired big button. When you press the button, it plays a sound and lights up some LEDs. And it also acts like a mouse. So you can press the mouse button when you press the big button. It's very satisfying. It's a gigantic button. Erin is working on some bunny ears, and so she previewed this project with bunny ears that light up when you tilt your head. Phil B showed off his 64 by 64 LED sand hourglass demo, which is very fun to look at. And we have a similar demo that he made for us earlier. Tony D is working on MicroPython for the Sinobit and got the LED sand demo working on that board. And he's learning all about character encoding for Chinese characters. Turns out there's a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot. There's like 22,000, and we got to figure out how to fit those characters into a chip that only has 256K a flash. Sometimes, they add a little chip. There's like a character chip.
Right.
I see these where you add it on it. It has all the, it's basically a flash chip that's pre-programmed with all the character codes. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. Then we had some special guests. JMK got a little Valentine's gift from someone and has reverse engineered it and found that the chip was under an epoxy blob. So that's kind of cool. There's a new JM Chaos, and we saw a JM Chaos demo, including a new text editor. You can edit files, create files, edit them. It's pretty cool.
That's super futuristic. Valentine's Day, kids get, a little blinky thing. What chip is in it? I got to get home soon so I can show off my new operating system I made in Python.
And then play with the pocket calculator
I
synthesizer.
It's quite the day.
Yeah,
it's
a big day.
This is a big
And
day.
you got to go to bed by like 9.
No, you got all sorts of things you got to do.
Busy.
Yeah. Coding Pro made a Raspberry Pi selfie cube with Raspberry Pi camera and a button, and it looks like a cube in Minecraft. So it's kind of fun. You can
It was very cool looking.
Yeah, it's really cool, and you can press it, and it'll maybe upload to Dropbox. That's next up. Becca is taking a paper-making class in school, and she's going to put some electronics in it, maybe, like a Gemma and some NeoPixels. That's always fun. The paper is made out of, other paper and denim. Zach is working on a furry costume and showed off this tail, which had these, vertebrae in it. And there's 150 LEDs in it, and it's got, this power burrito. And the furry outfit's going to have 4,000 LEDs, and it's going to be one with Teensy, and you can, stream video to it. It's just, it's an intense cosplay costume. Also made a little useless bot with a little cat that turns off the robot. When you turn it on, it turns itself off. Matt has updated his airsoft gun project. It now takes a GPS tag and will text message whenever, I guess, you press a button or fire the gun, and with the location. And Adam did a gold sputter demo where he made a golden heart on a piece of steel.
And showed the plasma.
Yeah, it was cool. Live sputtering demo.
Yeah, it wasn't pre-recorded.
No.
I think we're the only live show that has live gold plating, gold dousing. What?
Sputtering.
Gold sputtering.
Yeah.
It's the only live show ever.
It was a cool show. I mean, in all different things.
28 minutes, 58 seconds.
Yes.
Not too bad.
There's a lot going on.
All participants
Maybe
on the
next week,
show and
SEM.
tell get an SEM on the show and tell sticker. Email support@adafruit.com and we will send you out one. This is part of our Adafruit live series of shows. And that brings us to our guest. Hello, Carol.
Hey.
Hello, everybody.
So I picked off your Twitter profile, which I usually do. And you've been on the show before. You're getting up there with frequent guests.
Really?
Yeah, we give you a little yogurt card at the end.
Oh, good. Good.
Stamp
So
it.
yeah, you
I
stamp it
will
every
work
time.
for a bottle of water.
Yeah. Learn, Build, Share, Project Jupiter, CPython Core Dev, former director of the Python Foundation, Cal Poly research engineer, and MIT Sloan Duke alum. Opinions are your own. I like your opinions.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
Yeah,
but
I like your
anyway,
opinions.
I
So
like them.
I thought we would start a little bit, because every time you come here, if people don't know about Jupiter, they should know.
Yeah.
So we're going to interview you a little bit.
Oh, cool.
All right, Jupiter. What is Jupiter? Why is it so interesting? Why are you spending a lot of time on it?
Yeah, what is this?
To me, Jupiter is the ability to run code, make visualizations, write. So for people who like coding, writing, visualizing, video stuff, audio stuff, it's a great way to explore the world around you and then share with your friends. So we have this concept called the Jupiter Notebook, and it lets you write Python code or many other languages as well. I think there's over 60 now that are supported. And you can see the code run right in front of you. And then you can share it with your neighbor. And then we have something recently that's called mybinder.org. And that will let you launch a notebook out on the internet in the cloud somewhere. And so you don't even have to be able to install it on your own computer. You can actually just click a link and go.
It has
have your own
everything there.
notebook.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
That's cool. So in the education space, why has this taken off so much?
I think because it's a combination of things. One, I think, is it lets you code in a simple way, but it also lets you annotate your code with prose around it. So there are people that have written textbooks. You can do like a short lesson. Like when I first learned it, I learned it by using a music theory library and creating and manipulating music and then rendering it and then playing it and then converting it to Braille.
That's cool.
And all in one like little page screenful notebook, and then could share it with other people so that they could share it with their students.
You can run chunks at a time, which I like. Like I'll have
Yeah.
one chunk that'll be like taking in the data and parsing it. But once I've parsed it, I might run different filters, and so I'll have different chunks for the filters. So I don't have to redo that part, because like the parsing takes a long time. So I'll get all my data in and get into like the data format I need, and then like you can run different chunks of code. Also, like honestly, I think, like, I know that you can't say it, but I think a lot of people were tired of paying for MATLAB and Mathematica.
Well, and this is an open source project.
Opinions are your own.
That's my opinion. No, because like when I went to school, that's what we did. We did MATLAB.
Right.
And like you have to pay a site license for it. And like that's wonderful. I'm sure that there's some things that it does better, but for a lot of, as I got farther on doing this science and like simulations, a lot of people actually ended up ditching MATLAB and they went straight to Python, and they said, you know what, I can do the mathematical analyses, I need to do the data analyses in Python. This just kind of gives you that same simplicity of the user interface. That's my opinion. But
it's a good point, because part of it is it's also being used like in lots of universities to teach students, and so like UC Berkeley has thousands of students in their intro history classes, intro data science classes, and one of the nice things is because it's web-based, you can, it doesn't matter if you have the high-end laptop or a little Chromebook, you're still getting the same experience, and that really makes education accessible to a wider range of folks than just people who can afford the top end.
Yeah, when we visit, so New York school system, they got laptops a few years ago, and that's it.
Right.
So like Windows 7, 2010-ish machines, and it's like, that's it. And it can't really do a ton, and they can't necessarily download software.
Right, and so this would be a perfect thing for, that situation, because, whether it's running Windows or Linux or Mac OS, as long as you can run a modern web browser, you can use Jupyter.
Yeah.
And I think it's just made it, between the sharing and then the interactivity, I just think it made it a simple way to learn.
And you can also run it on your own too. You can have your own little.
Absolutely.
I like that you can embed graphs.
Yeah.
It's always fun. You can I can analyze data, and then I can say pie plot basically.
Right.
And the plotter comes right there. Like, again, like I'm dating myself, but like it used to be that you would run GNU plot in one terminal, and you'd run like your Python or MATLAB in another, and they didn't mix.
Right.
Like you couldn't do it at the same time.
Well, that's cool. And it's also really cool too. There's a project called RISE, RISE, and it actually lets you do presentations out of the notebook, right?
That's
directly,
cool.
Which is actually really neat. So I can do one notebook, I can share it with students, I can present from it, I can, change the code on the fly in the presentation. So there's some really neat stuff.
So for folks that want to know more, where do they go? Follow-up question.
You could start at Jupyter.org, and there's a link that says try it now. You could go to mybinder.org and put in any like GitHub URL of any code.
Oh, that's
and
cool. Almost like read the docs almost, where it's like it'll take like, okay, that's not easy to read, but Zerp, now it's in a better format. Thanks for the read the docs sticker, by the way.
Oh, no worries. Read the docs.
Yeah.
Another wonderful open source project.
Sometimes I like to try to figure out analogies for what this is. So to me, it's like telling stories and teaching with code. And it's like Google Docs wasn't made for that, but it has that, how you can put comments and like people can see the story as they're going along.
Right.
Is that a good analogy? Like,
kind of. I mean, it's sort of more like a choose your own adventure story.
Oh, okay, that's
kind
better.
of thing, because you
data.
could change it on the fly. You could you could go this direction, that direction, but yeah, one of the things that I think is really fascinating is the storytelling that you can do with it.
Because that's what was missing with a lot of teaching code. A lot of text. We didn't really get a chance to tell a story and do a lesson and then share that in an easy way.
Right.
And then how do I get this to 30 students at a time? So it seems like this is solving a problem that was out there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've done is like, because you can embed YouTube videos or audio in it, it kind of brings in that multimedia experience as well, but in a very simple way, so that you can change it on the fly and people can choose what they want to run. Really,
it's interesting to me because, like, when we started creating Learn, the learning site,
right?
to me, the most important thing was text, photo, or video. Text media, and having this interleaving. I think it like nothing really works as well. I mean, like comic books work really well, but this is like the next best thing.
Right.
People need an image to focus on and the text to explain it. And I think these two, or vice versa, the text to read and the image to explain it. I think that interleaving is a really good system. And I think historically, like we're used to looking at code where it's like the code is self-documenting, you know, and it's like not really, you know,
right.
Or you're trying to read it, or like a text file where it's really tough for your mind to latch on to each idea because it's not like digested into these little chunks.
Right. And I think, you know, cognitive science kind of bears that out because, you know, people have different ways. Cognitive science is essentially learning about how people learn. So it brings in multidiscipline things, whether it's computer science, linguistics, psychology, and neuroscience. And because not all of us learn the same way, by having those different media and the ability to interleave them, you're really reaching a larger population. And you're more likely to remember, oh, I've seen this visualization of some calculus thing versus just the formula on the page.
Yeah, I think the trend has moved beyond, okay, learn the code. It's like, oh yeah, I got it. But yes, that's important. But learning how to learn
right.
is where, like, no matter what happens after that, whatever you're going to pursue, the learning how to learn effectively and having tools that can do that is
and just like
is
on
where
the
it's
show
at.
and tell that we just saw, you know, people learning how to solve their own problems in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty cool.
So the choose your own adventure analogy
Yeah.
is pretty
That's a good one because it's true. It's how I think of it. It's just like, what do I want to do next with this data?
Okay, well, the other thing is I'll save the next part for your present because it has something to do with web browsers and more. But you're usually at conferences, and you always give us some good insights from the street. You're like, okay, here's what's going on. Here's folks doing stuff with like CircuitPython. Here's stuff that's going with Python. So what was your last stop? Where were you just now before getting here?
I was home, fortunately, for a while.
Yeah.
But earlier, well, a couple months ago, I was over in Wales for PyCon UK. And what was great was they had all these younger folks. And by younger, I mean like students still in elementary school. And they were using MicroPython. They were using CircuitPython. They were using the Raspberry Pi. And they had all these kids for an hour do these lightning talks, which are short 3 to 5 minute talks about the things that they had created all weekend. And some of them were really awesome. Like there's a project called Adabox, and shout out to the Adabox kid. But basically it changes Scratch to Python code. So it helps you like transition from a block coding language to Python. And they've worked with like Nicholas Tollerby, who does Mu, which is also a really...
We're going to cover that tonight.
Oh, we are?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, then I'll
Did you
leave
see
that.
the show?
No, I didn't see the show. I just was told to show up.
Yeah. We rehearsed for 4 hours before each show, and then we act like it's a surprise night.
Really?
No, we did not.
No, we just showed up.
Believe me, if we did, the demos would be less hectic.
There's some interesting stuff in Mu that we're working on with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Okay, so you were doing that.
And I think the thing with Python, there's so many different things that people are doing. I'm actually writing like a 40-minute talk right now, and there's so many cool things. It's hard to narrow down what it is that I want to talk about because I'm talking about learning, but is it learning web programming? Is it learning sysadmin? Is it learning science or, you know, languages? I mean, there's lots of different how to teach people.
So back in the day when I started Hackaday,
Yep.
a lot of people said there's no way you're going to be able to post a project a day. Okay, look where we're at now. And I feel with learning,
Right.
we're getting there right now. It's hard to keep track. There's so much stuff going on. There's so many good things going on. Things are getting to more people who've never had access to this stuff before. So I think you're here in New York and you're going on to the next thing, right?
Right.
So what's the next thing?
The next thing is the Dominican Republic, and I'm going to be doing some web development with them and speaking at their conference, a Python conference there. then I get to go home for less than 24 hours, and then I head to Hack, Illinois,
Okay.
University of Illinois. They have over 1,000 students, and they do a hackathon each year.
Neat.
And on this year's how to contribute to open source. And so it's great for me. I get to work with a lot of students and see what people are doing. And last year was that gal that made that very cool light up dress.
Oh, yeah.
That I sent the picture of. So
Yeah, one of the things, just shout out to that you've been really helpful for us is we started this Circuit Python community, and we have Discord, and we have GitHub, and you've been really helpful showing, here's good examples of how functional open source communities are working, how people can contribute, because there's all different ways
Right.
to contribute.
Right.
And being able to have some way for someone to help out, and having like a good code of conduct, having a good place where people can have comments, where they can do pull requests, that's been really helpful. So thank you for that.
thank you.
Like I've always said, there's a lot of people in our lives, and you're one of them that always makes us want to be like, I know I want to be a better person. I'm like, oh, Carol's showing up. I better like get my game on. But that's one of the most important things is we can't do it alone.
No.
There's no such thing as like an open source project where it's one person. The whole point is it's lots of people and how to get lots of people to contribute and do stuff. Like we do these videos, we have Learn Guides, we have GitHub, we have Read the Docs, we have a guideline on syntax. We try to have everything for everyone.
Right. And I think, whether you're a complete beginner who's never written one line of code or somebody who's been doing it for many, many years, there's something valuable that you can learn from everybody you come across. And, people that are very artistic, like the puppets and stuff, and then recently you did what was it, Make with Code?
Yeah.
The explanation of electronics. I'm like, again, explaining electronics in a way that people can understand.
Oh, the how
Isn't
computers
amazing?
work
Yeah.
with Bill Gates, Lamore,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other folks. Yeah, that was
really
that was interesting because that's a really hard subject, but it is possible to explain it. And once you get that like 1 minute of attention time, if you can get people in, it might be a lifelong career, and that's the hard part sometimes.
Yeah, and that's actually where the notebooks excel, because you can give people like one really cool example to start with, like something that would be maybe too hard for them to do initially.
Yeah.
But then you can break it down, and so you kind of hook them on something cool, and then they realize, oh, I can do this. It's just little baby steps all along the way.
Yeah, one of the things that, Scott, that
Yeah.
with Circuit Python, it shows up as a drive, it saves, it automatically runs, and like you can have a NeoPixel thing going, and that's kind of our thing. Like for electronics, the hello
Yeah.
world is blinking.
Yes.
And that used to be really hard.
I remember those really hard
It
days.
used to be really hard, really expensive, and you'd spend like years at it, and you're like, look, it blinks, and then you're like, and that kept a lot of beginners out. But now it's like, okay, one of the first things you can do, and if you're just using Moo, or if you're using just even a text editor, you can do something right away.
Right.
Okay, well, there was a question from the chat.
Sure.
How did you get your start in engineering, computer science? Like, how did you fall into this? Or how did it find you?
I kind of found it a few different times in my life. When I was a kid, I was kind of a math geek, but wasn't really challenged by the stuff that I was doing at school. So some very nice people took me over to Bell Labs and let me try and program on a mainframe in 5th grade, which I was like, this is really cool.
That's cool.
And then, then the TRS-80 came out, and then the next year, the first Apple computer came out. And I actually taught myself how to program, and it was games. So, at the time it was like Breakout, where you had like the colored lines and had to chip away the blocks. But in many ways, it was the Minecraft of like the 70s versus the very cool Minecraft that we have now. And then, when I went to college, I still wanted to do something math and electronics, so I did double E, but I had never like built anything. So when one of my circuits labs, they gave me this box of parts, and I couldn't tell the difference between a resistor and a capacitor, and basically the professor had to like tape it on a file folder so that I could then match it up, because we didn't have the internet then like we do now to even check the pictures. So
Yeah.
and it's just one of those things. I think if you do it little by little, and I think sometimes it gets overwhelming at the start because you feel like you need to know everything. And I probably know this much compared to like this much that everybody else collectively knows. So there's always something to learn. There's always something to share. And I think that's sort of the fundamental.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to get started because you can get really far really fast.
Yeah.
I think we have one of these quotes on our site, but you can go fast by yourself, but you can go further together.
That's true.
And like with open source, like you get really far. You can do really complex projects, even if you're just dragging blocks around.
Oh, yeah.
And that just brings in a lot of people.
Well, and it's been like, I think at one point I turned on one of my laptops and it said CircuitPython 0.9.
Yeah, that was
So that was before version 1.
Yeah.
That was little under a year ago, I think. And now, look, we're getting...
free beta.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
And the number of boards and the functionality is just skyrocketed.
Yeah,
So-
and a lot of it is just the community.
Absolutely.
We've decided, and I think it decided for us at the same time, how can we build this in the open and keep people contributing and bringing more people in?
Right.
So, okay.
Cool.
Well, those are some questions. We're going to keep
Nice.
doing some more show stuff. So speaking of, let me do some odds and ends here.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to your present. So you have a present.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
We got you a Python calculator. So this is from NumWorks, and I installed the update, and I'm like, cool, Python. So I played around with some Python stuff, and one of the neat things about this is, and we can go to the overhead.
Ooh.
One of the neat things about this, and this is what this is my follow-up. So Chrome now has this thing called WebUSB, and it allows you to interact with devices over a web browser. So that might be interesting
cool.
for Jupyter.
Yeah.
Because theoretically, you could start doing some real-time stuff. So this is our Python calculator.
Nice.
And it's neat. It has I think it's MicroPython 1.9.1 inside of it. And then we tried the WebUSB thing and updated it, and MakeCode is working with us, and we'll be able to do WebUSB stuff. So, no software,
Cool.
no download software. Over and over and over again, that seems to be one of the barriers.
Yeah.
And if you can do more real-time coding, downloading programs, or just in this case.
Can
That's so
draw,
cool.
This can
Yeah,
draw
so this is your...
Fractal.
Mandelbrot.
So when you get this, you have to update it to get
I
Python.
will.
But now in the airplanes, you can just play with a Python calculator.
Yes,
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
whenever you want, or when you're taking the SATs again.
Yeah.
I
Well, you didn't
don't
have the
think
SATs.
I'm going to take... No, we did have the SATs
Okay.
then. Yes, we did.
Okay, cool.
Thank
Maybe
you.
Maybe I'll get this
Okay,
Mandelbrot going.
that's your present. See, this
Yay.
is how you can tell it's a present.
Thank you.
And then for the folks that are interested, I just did a blog post. I linked to it's sort of open source. They put a lot of stuff up,
Right.
schematics, PCB. Here's all the GitHub stuff.
cool.
It's called
So, like, open
Epsilon.
hardware
Yeah,
stuff, too.
it's sort of. It's like it's
Yeah.
a little bit of a hybrid. And then I also linked to the FCC ID if you want to see some of the testing procedures and all the things that went into it. So, anyways, cool calculator.
Yay.
That's your present.
Okay, I'm gonna try
What's
to
it run?
I'm trying to. I don't know how to actually get it to run.
Read the manual.
Yeah, I don't know.
Read
Okay.
the manual?
You have to read the manual. Nah.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do some show stuff, and then we're just gonna keep moving. Well, thank you, Carol.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. We've been doing some Instagram stories. If you haven't already, go to instagram.com/Adafruit. We have some behind-the-scenes stuff and more. JP has been doing his weekly shows. Tomorrow is his latest. This is from last week. This is the secret hollow book alarm. So if you wanted to have like a cool kind of like spy hidden thing, you know what kids like doing? They like hiding stuff.
Yeah.
And
It's
so,
fun because
yeah,
your parents are always so nosy.
yeah, and
So he makes the alarm and make code, and yeah, he shows a couple different things. So there's an Android app that he uses, make code, example code.
Yep, and
and
I have a
also
little-
just how to glue it together.
I'll have a little preview video here. I'll play this. Pack the Mailbag, every single week we get letters from y'all, and we read these that are all company. Have you been to State of Fruit yet?
I have.
You have been. That's our weekly.
Yes.
We didn't just do that because you showed up, but that'd be funny if we did.
Yeah.
But we do a weekly all-company meeting called State of the Fruit, and then we read emails from the community more. This one is from Harold. Just a quick note that the Circuit Playground Express is awesome. My 5-year-old daughter and I spent the afternoon using MakeCode and exploring the extensive features and sensors built into the board. I just ordered some additional boards so we could explore the IR functionality and get the boards to talk.
Woo!
Harold. Yay. All right. And then next up, you retweeted this, I think. Thanks for doing that. So there's the Makers Conference coming up. And the Makers site is neat. There's like interviews with Oprah and Oprah. No, there's just well, that's where you go for the. Well, no, there's just like tons of interviews. Like Michelle Obama and like all these really high-profile, amazing women. And then they came out here and they filmed. There's going to be a video coming up, but then you did a video. You're gonna. The theme is raise your voice, and you had something I thought that was neat. So I'm just going to play the little clip it.
It's me.
Clip it.
Thanks.
I'm going to publish and make and create and share it with the world.
That's what I'm going to do.
And you can watch the full video with more folks talking about.
People.
But I thought that was a powerful thing. It's like publish, share,
Literally.
teach, create, make, and get the word out.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Something you've been doing for a long time?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They
Time
speak
travel.
truth to code.
Hey, look in the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers, historical things, and more. We have a lot going on this week. Happy birthday, Frederick Douglass. And this is one of my favorite quotes. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Ooh.
Powerful, timely, and it's celebrating his birthday, 200 years. And the reason why it's Valentine's Day is when he was no longer a slave, he chose his birthday. And his mom used to call him her little Valentine.
Oh.
So, history.
Impressive. Yeah.
And
Cool.
today is Valentine's Day. And so we took a bunch of photos, and I mostly just wanted to show these because we have all these heart-shaped electronics.
Oh, nice.
And we've been putting them up all day. Turns out you can do a lot of stuff with electronics and hearts.
Yeah.
It was almost like it was made for it.
That's cool.
And we also have, I like the servo one.
The servo one's very cool.
Very cool.
And then this is a new one. I like this one. It's like, hey, robot. Hey, robot. Boop, heart.
Friends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so
Cooperative hearts.
here's the part that I don't know if it's true, but there's lots of different stories about the history of Valentine's Day. I think the stories are probably not accurate, but it's not just flowers and chocolate, turns out. Turns out some of the mythical stories is in the year 270, there was a Roman emperor, and his name was Claudius the Cruel. Not sure if he was born with that name, but he lived up to it. And this non-Hallmark version of Valentine's Day was basically, and again, like I'm sure there's debates about this on Wikipedia, but one of the mythical stories is Claudius was having a hard time getting people to join his army because they would just go out and murder people, and it was terrible all the time. And everyone's like, you know what? I'm not really into the murdering. And he thought, you know what? If people couldn't get married or be with their loved ones, they probably want to join my army and murder people. So this is part of the story. Said, okay, maybe not marriage anymore, maybe not engagement, maybe not relationships at all, maybe just join my murder army. And so, so Valentine continued to marry folks, and that was apparently a crime because it's like, hey, Claudius the Cruel, none of that. And when Valentine was in jail before got clubbed and then beheaded, he sent a note to the jailer's daughter that said, from your Valentine's Day. So again, debate this on Wikipedia, but that's one of the many origin stories of Valentine's Day. Whether it's true or not, it is an interesting idea to think about. When people want you to do bad things, maybe they'll separate you from your loved ones, or maybe they'll try to divide you. And I think about that sometimes with open source communities or any community where we're so identical in our goals, but there's like one little thing, and then we end up like, forking or just like doing our own things. But I think that's a lot of times we all have the same goal. We just come at it a different way, and it'd be cool to kind of like not get divided up so easily. Generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's giving people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes it's standing up for what you think is right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people are hard. Code is easy compared to people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And as we add more folks in, I think we all have to do a good job of like, well, what are the goals and can we figure out how to bring people together? That's why we have like the code of conduct and all this stuff.
Right. Well, and I think the best solutions come from pulling together people with many different ideas and sort of working through stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why, I try and encourage people when you kind of do a project, and this might come out of the Fab Lab, makerspace type environments that I've been in, but, somebody who's doing, auto mechanics or whatever, auto paint jobs, how do you do that cooler, better, faster?
Yeah.
You could get 6 different people from different disciplines, or cake decorating using a 3D printer. Not with the plastic, but with actually frosting.
Yeah.
So there's cool ways to take stuff that already exists and kind of remix them. Sort of like remixing music.
Yeah, well, Morgan gets asked this question all the time. It's like, where do you get ideas? And I think the interviewers, they always want to hear this like magical answer that you like meditate on a mountain or something. But the reality is the only way to get good ideas is to get ideas, and the only way to get ideas is usually from people. So you have to have a community, and we get most of our ideas, and we find most of the people we work with in the community. So anyways, that was a little Valentine's Day story.
Nice.
Yeah. Coming up, happy Chinese New Year 2018, Year of the Dog.
Yay.
So we'll be celebrating that this Friday. Other news, on the 13th, there was this announcement coming soon from Particle. And we've known about this for a while, but we couldn't say anything because, well, it was a secret. But here's the big news. Particle has moved to the Feather format.
Really?
Yeah, their next set of hardware, which is NRF52 840 based. It's the new USB capable NRF52 Nordic chip, which has Bluetooth 4 and Bluetooth 5 capability. And they have a version with cellular, a version that adds Wi-Fi, and a version that's Bluetooth only, that's very low cost. And it's cool because we actually are going to be supporting the NRF52 840 in CircuitPython. It's one of our targets. So this will definitely be something you can run CircuitPython on, as well as, of course, using the Particle deployment system, which is, of course, like way more powerful, and you can deploy remotely, which we won't have on our on CircuitPython. But I just think it's neat. It's like this chip is definitely where I'm seeing people heading towards.
And the form factor is the same. It'll stack.
Yeah, it works with all of our wings. So
now here's where I think this was smart. So Particle, they're a company that want people to use their IDE, their system, and they have a very low cost. It's gonna be like $9.
Yeah.
And it's basically practically free hardware. But how do you get the 52 plus accessories, something like Feather? Well, they moved their form factor to Feather. And anything that's a Feather wing can potentially now work with Particle. So you unlock that entire ecosystem.
And I've already done the work. So, we have TFTs, and we have
it's really smart.
displays, and we have OLEDs and buttons and breakouts, and like everything is already done. So they don't have to like create an Ethernet add-on. They can just use the wing that we have already.
And the community's there already.
Yeah, and the code's there, and we have like, C and Python code for all of it.
And you can pre-order particle.io/mesh. And they have a video, and it's 2.5 minutes, and I thought I'd play it because we're excited about this because we're not going to build Particle, and they're not going to build Featherwing, so that's why we
This is good teamwork, open source.
There you go.
They asked me for a specification, I wrote it, and they did it.
All right, so take it away, Particle team.
Go, 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 go.
This is the internet. Well, maybe not the internet you're used to. This is the internet for the physical world. The internet of sensors, of motors, of pumps and valves. The internet you know connects your phones and computers. This internet connects the spaces in between. This is Particle Mesh, the new internet for the Internet of Things. Hi, I'm Zach. I'm the CEO of Particle, the company that brought you Wi-Fi and cellular connectivity for the Internet of Things. Since we launched the Electron, we've become the most widely used IoT platform, and you've connected everything from school buses to sump pumps. There are 140,000 of you in 170 countries building with Particle, and 8,500 companies using our platform to build real products. You've used Particle to connect the world. Now it's time to go one step further. Today, particle devices connect to the internet, and that's it, beginning and end. But with particle mesh, these devices become gateways to the internet. They create wireless networks that other devices can join. Devices that join the network communicate with one another, building a mesh of conversation. They work together to make sure that messages get where they're going. This makes the network larger as messages bounce from node to node. But it's also more reliable, because if one node goes down, the network heals. Particle mesh is low power, secure, and reliable. And it works with all 3 of our new products. First, we've got the Argon. It connects to the internet over a Wi-Fi network, great for devices in your home or office. Next, we've got the Boron. It connects to the internet over LTE, which means it works pretty much anywhere. Both can act as standalone devices or as gateways for a mesh network. And finally, meet the Xenon, the low-power, low-cost mesh node. And every Xenon you add grows and strengthens the network. They're easy to set up, easy to program, and easy to manage. And they can be used for pretty much anything. Whether you want to count your inventory, monitor your environment, or tell people where to park, we're here, bringing the physical world online so you can see more of what's happening. Pre-order Particle Mesh today, shipping in July 2018. And then the only question is, what problem will you solve first?
Nice drone shots.
So I recommend pre-ordering because it's a really good deal. They have free shipping going on right now. They extended it. And you can get them for like 30-40% off. And yeah, you're not going to be able to get another NRF52 baseboard for the prices that they're offering it.
Yeah.
Very good.
You know, speaking of all this stuff, Code Plus Community, this came out of our Discord chat. I was doing some ad banners with Hackaday.
Nice.
And I was just like, hey, let's come up with something, and Code Plus Community came out. So we have a new member of the Circuit Playground family. This is Blinka, and this is some photos we took. And Blinka will be making a debut in some future Circuit Playgrounds, but I wanted to bring Blinka over.
Blinka's way bigger than you
Blinka.
think.
Yeah.
Dang, dang.
We bonded earlier.
All right, so there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. And,
Here, do you want some?
I would
Have
love
some
some.
snack?
Yeah.
Hi.
So I'm breaking the fourth wall or whatever it is. Normally I'm in a green screen when I do this, but you know, hi, I want to teach you
Hi.
Python. So
Nice. It's kind of hefty.
yeah,
Nice.
so
And
wait,
then the tail,
squishy.
the tail has a hook. You can like use it to control the tail.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously?
Yeah, we don't. It's not installed right now, but there's a little there's a
my
little
gosh.
space you put this hook in, and then you can animate it.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. Right here.
Oh, nice.
No, she like makes. She doesn't
Is there a
make
little
puppets
pocket to put the circuit playground in?
in the mouth.
there can be.
Oh, in the
We-
mouth.
Oh, it's actually cool.
Yeah,
There's
we've electrified
exchangeable,
Adabox before, so
The tongues can be exchanged.
yeah, these are
There's
detachable
different tongues for different situations.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of subtle. If you're into puppets and stuff like, there's a lot of subtle things, so you can do some interesting face movements.
I
And,
love the puppets.
Yeah. Okay. So, world premiere.
Nice. Must have stickers.
Stickers are coming.
All right.
We got the temporary tattoos today.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so that's Blinka.
Stickers aren't here yet.
All right. Next up. Oh, you know, I needed to show this thing. Thanks, Particle, for making this. Boards of a Feather mesh together.
Yay!
They made a little Valentine's Day. Other news, Hackspace Magazine is our new favorite magazine, and if you're a subscriber for 12 months, even if you're a 12-month subscriber from the
before.
past, or if you subscribe now and you're a 12-month subscriber, you get a free Circuit Playground Express.
That's right. And people were like surprised. They're like, why am I
freaking
getting
out.
all this free hardware? And it's like, you are awesome because you subscribed for a
Yeah,
year.
so that's happening right now.
It's
And
not too late. If you
it's not too late.
subscribe now, you'll still get free hardware. It's like
Yep.
it's like you actually get your money's back because you get the hardware for the same price as a subscription.
And here's the next issue coming out. Sophie's on the cover. Wearable technology.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah,
This is
you
happening.
get their cool
This is
LED
happening.
hands.
So
very cool.
if you were a 12-month subscriber or you are going to be one, you get a Circuit Playground Express. Speaking of Moo, this is what we were talking about before. So there's a new version of Moo out,
Yeah.
and the cool thing about this is you can plug in your board, and it says, "Cool, you have an Adafruit board," and you get REPL and code right there.
Yep.
Right.
and this is my only editor because I'm just like, oh, like I don't want to open up Terminal and then have
I'll
another
tell you the
thing.
thing that's great about it. It auto detects your COM port, so you don't have to select it. You just click
Right.
REPL and it opens. And like, so what's funny is even if I'm using my other code editors, I'll use this because even if
Yeah.
I'm changing boards around, it'll always pop up the REPL correctly.
It's a really nice editor, and a lot of like thought went into it.
Yeah.
Nicholas has done
Yeah.
an outstanding job. I just loaded up the beta code the other day, and
Yep. And more's coming out. I know
awesome.
he's working on some really cool things.
Yeah, and it should work with all the boards.
There'll be
These
yeah,
are boards.
and future boards. If you look, you can even see some future boards that are not
That's right.
released yet, but they're in the code
they're in the
because they put them in
vid
I put
thing.
them ahead of time.
Okay, we'll probably go over a little over time tonight, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Open source hardware, we're open source hardware company. We have a bunch of learn guides. I put the other ones that just came in at the end, so
That's
go ahead
fine.
and do these, and then I'll.
All right, so we got the CircuitPython soundbox. We're going to show that off. There's a video from Noah and Pedro. It's their little big button presser audio comes out. We have the Starflower NearPixel strand with MakeCode. These are little 3D printed snap-on covers for the LED strands. They make them into like shapes.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like, those lights that you get that you hang up from like Target.
Right.
But you can make your own shapes.
Nice.
So your Python logos or your Adafruit stars. The 3D models, and then using MakeCode to animate them. We've got last week's project, the CircuitPython Media Dial, which was like another CircuitPython project. Turns it
That
into
was I
a
saw
griffin.
that was really neat.
Yeah, it's basically like Phil had this griffin thing that stopped working, and I was like, well, we can remake it in code. And then, of course, for today, you still have time to make the Cyberflower Digital Valentine using an Adafruit Gemma M0, and some wire and battery pack. You can make your own glowing and a heartbeat flower. So that's this week's
Okay, we also have a couple
guide.
more.
We also have the Secret Hollow book, which is the guide that goes with the video that JP did. Very detailed with lots of great images on how to make your own hollow book. I remember making one with my sister when I was a kid. It was super fun.
Okay.
I don't know what I hid in there,
And we
but
also have
rocks. We have Dave Estelle's feather-based hue lighting controller. This is really cool. It like gets like data from dark sky and like what the weather's going to be.
Oh, nice.
And it has a PIR sensor, so it knows when somebody's coming by, and it has like a real-time clock. So it's a very advanced lighting control system. It isn't just like you press a button. It actually does like data
Just some
analysis.
behind
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
To some Dave Estelle's. And we've got the new product this week, the RGB Matrix bonnet for Raspberry Pi. We have a guide on how to get that up and running.
Oh,
and
that's this thing, right?
That's this
Yeah.
thing. And Phil
Sweet.
B wrote a whole awesome installer script that installs everything from shell and sets it all up and git clones and makes and compiles and gets it all going. So it's very simple to use, a lot easier than it used to be. So we've moved towards automatic installation scripts.
Okay. In New York factory footage, we have some. Here it goes. more factory footage. This is, of course, Valentine's Day themed. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess? Can you guess? Can you guess? Can you guess?
It's a heart.
A heart mug?
Heart? What is it?
Maybe.
It's a rose.
A vase. No?
All right. Now guess this one.
This looks like it's gonna be a heart.
This is hard. This one's easier.
A real heart?
Yep.
I think it was made of
I needed
ninja
a
flash. It's like
replacement.
squishy.
I need a replacement, so they printed out my own. Here is the spy camera that we have outside the window. So normally we just do like this Raspberry Pi thing. This is another one. This is what the footage looks like off of it. This is outside the Adafruit factory, right from where the pick places are. Doot, 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 doot. 3D printing, Noah and Pedro. We're printing up a Storm this week. I did want to show some photos of the final art.
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like.
Yay.
That's nice, right?
Wow.
3D printed.
Those are cute. Nice nails.
I guess in the future, when we run out of flowers or something, there's no
Yeah.
more bees. You'll just get like 3D printed flowers.
Let's hope not.
Yeah.
I like real ones too.
We have a backup plan.
We could intersperse them.
Yeah. All right. Here is Noah and Pedro's video of the week. This is the Circuit Playground button.
Big button.
Big button.
Hey, what's up guys? Today we're building an audio soundbox.
Those electrons are amazing.
So this can play audio clips and features a really big arcade button that lights up when you press it.
Those electrons are amazing.
It's a pretty simple project, but it's very useful for the assistive tech community. Similar products are quite pricey, so a DIY solution is much more cost effective. Circuit Playground Express is our all-in-one board that has built-in sensors and LEDs. So it's really great for anyone who wants to learn electronics and programming. It's Circuit Python ready, so you can use the MuPython editor to write your code. It's easy to use Adafruit's libraries and example code to quickly develop programs. You can also use the REPL serial console to quickly test your code without having to compile. To house all of the electronics, I designed a box using Autodesk Fusion 360. Most of the components will either be panel mounted or secured to built-in standoffs with machine screws. I shared the source file so anyone can download and modify my design. These parts can be 3D printed using standard PLA material. You'll need a handful of components to build this project, all of which you can get from the Adafruit shop. I started by disassembling the arcade button to see how all the parts fit together. There's a compression spring inside the stem that allows the housing to actuate the microswitch. I used the splunger tool to pry open the clear dome from the button cover. My plan is to embed the Circuit Playground, so we'll need to drill some holes in the housing. So I drew holes with a Sharpie and used a Dremel tool to make the holes. We'll need to pass all of the wires through the button housing to connect all of the components. The outer button holder already has holes in it, so we can use them as reference. The majority of the build is wiring components together. I documented each step as a tutorial and published it in the Adafruit Learning System. I needed to DIY myself a USB cable, so I wired up a micro USB connector. This will allow access to the Circuit Playground once it's embedded. To make audio playback a bit louder, I wired up a small audio amplifier. This speaker will give us some decent volume, so I wired it to the audio output. Then I wired up a potentiometer to the audio amplifier so we can adjust the volume. This also features a built-in on-off switch, so I hooked up a JST extension cable for the battery. Then I wired up the microswitch and TRS jack for triggering the audio. And with all the components wired up, we can work on hooking them up to the Circuit Playground Express. Next, we'll need to put the button back together and set up the box so everything lines up. Then reinstall the microswitch back onto the button. The speaker is fitted on the inside and secured to these little clips. We can then secure the audio amp with machine screws. The potentiometer is panel mounted with a washer and hex nut. This TRS jack allows you to connect any of the standard AT switches. With everything now installed, all of the wires are threaded through the top of the button. Now we can work on hooking up everything to the Circuit Playground. To make everything nice and neat, I wired up all the connections to the bottom of the board. This conceals all of the connections and makes it a little bit easier to embed. Then we can plug in the USB and JST connectors to the Circuit Playground. It's a good idea to check all of the connections before placing it onto the button. The last thing we need to wire up is the cable from the USB connector to this little breakout. Then we can mount it to the bottom cover with machine screws. We can plug in any battery to the JST extension like a AA pack or a LiPo cell. And there's plenty of room inside the box, so you can either double stick or hot glue. The bottom cover can then be installed by snapping it into place. I also installed this nicely machined knob to the potentiometer so it's easy to dial in the volume. Lastly, it's up to you whether you want to cover up the circuit playground. The button cover actually diffuses the LEDs quite nicely. Either way, you'll want to reinstall the dome by pressing it down until it clicks into place. I think this is a great example for playing back audio using CircuitPython. There's quite a few sensors on the circuit playground, so there's a lot of room for expanding the features. I really hope this project can help the assistive tech community, so hopefully we can inspire folks by building these type of projects.
Electrical current makes electricity go. Well, pleasure to meet you. Did I break something?
And we have a 3D printing speed up. This one, Valentine's Day. It's canon, as they say.
Cannons?
Yeah, canon, like it's in the right universe.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, here we go. And don't forget 3D Hangouts every Wednesday with Noah and Pedro. Before we get off to new products, don't forget Adabox. You still have a little bit more time to get one. We're going to be ending the subscriptions for the next one. This is 007. This is top secret, spy, fun hacking, security stuff. Ships soon. Make sure you go to adabox.com and subscribe. It's a good gift for a kid. Okay, Lady Ada. Athens the code. But that also means it's time for new products.
Yes. Roses are red, violets are blue. New, 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 new.
Oh, that was good.
That's good.
We didn't even plan that. I remember you did. Okay, Blinka temporary tattoos.
All right, we got these in.
Oh,
If you're ready to add Blinka to your life in a semi-permanent, as a temporary tattoo manner, you try these out. They stick on. They last for about a week.
Yeah.
They're really easy. It's just like standard tattoos. You use some water, warm water. You stick it on. You hold it with a towel, and then you get Blinka. So you can take this with you.
Yay!
And they're, but you know, like actually, maybe I'll show it just on the overhead real fast because you can show the size. They're like 3 inches tall, made in the USA by this really cool company that makes temporary tattoos. And they look good, and they've got the white eye, so the eye will show up really nice.
Yep, we paid extra for that.
You have to pay extra for that.
And we tested it on us, and so I had multiple ones, no rashes, nothing.
You just covered your entire face with them.
I was just full on, yeah.
So Blinka can be on your heart, literally.
Okay, next up.
Thank you.
It's like Python night here. Okay,
It is.
PyCom.
We got a PyCom GPY. So this is the latest board from PyCom. They have a MicroPython core that runs on the ESP32, and then they toss all sorts of other wireless goodies on there. And this board in particular, let me grab it so I can see. It has the ESP32. Let me zoom in here. It's got the ESP32 on there with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and then they add an LTE Cat-M cellular module. There's a little SIM card slot on the bottom here. You can plug it in. It's all encased. It's uses the Sequans chip. I don't know what that is, but they seem to like it. Has a little LTE antenna over here, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antenna here, or you can use an external antenna as well. Got a NeoPixel. So it's an all-in-one MicroPython programmable board. You can program it over Wi-Fi and deploy code. So it's kind of neat.
The feather?
It's not feather compatible. It's similar size. They have their own kind of standard and their own accessories as well. But you can use it on a breadboard, so you can just still wire it up with a feather. We just don't have an adapter, but it's almost the same size.
So makers out there.
Yeah, so this is pretty neat. So they have a couple. They have ones that are just Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and they have ones that are Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Sigfox, LoRa. So this is the one that's 3 network.
Oh wow.
This one doesn't have
cool.
everything, but it's a good price. So this is the Picom GPY.
Neat.
Okay. Next up, let the Blinky begin.
Okay. So there's actually a 2-in-1. This is a 64 by 64 matrix. It is a gigantic LED matrix, just like the ones that make LED walls we have here. It's running this really fun LED sand demo that Phil B wrote. We have a bonnet that goes with it. Of course, you have to buy them separately. These LED matrix panels are chainable. In particular, the thing you have to watch out for this one is it's 64 pixels tall. It's 132 scan, which means you need to have a board that supports 5 address lines. And since it's an unusual, it's not usual for you to get ones with 5 address lines, you just have to make sure that your hardware and library support it. The HZLR code that we use does, so you can use it with our bonnet, but Arduino library does not. This is too big of a panel, so there's something to watch out for. But if you are using a Raspberry Pi, you get so many pixels, and they're very high density, and they're super fun.
They're beautiful.
And along with this, we have good timing. We also have this bonnet. It's an RGB matrix bonnet. We've already had a hat, but this bonnet is smaller. It fits nicer on a Pi Zero. It's fully assembled, so you don't have to do anything. You just pop it on. It's got power polarity protection. It's got the IDC connector. You can just plug right in. Again, no soldering required. It works with any Raspberry Pi with a 2x20 connector. So you can use it with your Pi Zero or Zero W or Pi 2, A+, Pi 3, whatever, any of the modern Pis. There's level shifting, so you get 5-volt logic level. So you get even some matrices don't like 3-volt logic. So that's all good. And then there's that nice polarity protection that also checks for overvolting. So even if you plug in a 9-volt or 12-volt adapter, it won't do anything. It won't blow it up.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but because it's so common to grab a power adapter and plug it in and you're not paying attention and it just blows up everything, that I
that's nice.
Spent a little bit more to put that protection on there.
Yeah, well, that's
so
nice.
I can show the matrix off. So this is the matrix off. It's 2.5 millimeter pitch. This is as pitchy as you can get. It doesn't get any.
It's
more
beautiful.
dense. Yeah. And then on the back, you've got all the driver chips, and then you can chain them, so you can connect one to the other if you want to add more. And this is the bonnet with it off. You just show it off. You just plug this in here, and you're golden. That's the data port, power in, and then we've got here, assistant.
Yes, I'm good at assisting.
We have one that's assembled. So this one, we added a accelerometer. We have the code on GitHub for this, and a List3DH accelerometer, and it turns it into a super fun sand demo. So you can see this one even has a little Adafruit that the sand can stick to. Just showing all the color. And this is super dim too, so it doesn't blow out the lights. It's quite bright otherwise.
I was going to say, it's a lot brighter here sitting next to it than it is on the screen.
Yeah, because otherwise the cameras freak out.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, we kind of figured out this is, even so you can still see a little bit of the refresh.
Right.
But yeah, these are a good pairing. You don't have to use a 64 by 64 with this bonnet, but it's one of the only boards that we have seen that will support it. So if you want to drive this panel, this is a good match.
It's very fun.
Yeah, and this is way more. This is a totally nerd snipey.
Yes.
You put this in a pile of nerds, and you're not gonna get nothing from them for hours. We'll just sit here forever doing little physics demos. So yeah.
They look like Skittles.
They do, or sprinkles for ice cream sundae or something.
Yeah, there's a little rainbow demo. Then we got that hourglass demo too, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Emergent behavior.
That's right.
Okay, so that's the demo.
All right. Next up, this is a serious problem on Twitter today. This is one of the biggest problems I saw, and we have a solution. So people are getting rings left on their table from their HomePods. I don't know if you saw this, But we have a solution.
Yes.
My solution was some Photoshop. No, we have coasters that have nothing to do with this this HomePod ring. But I decided that I would say, okay, for all the folks that are freaking out over this problem, we have these coasters.
Yeah.
You can use them for other things, but
I've always wanted PCB coasters, and I wanted to do a project with SAR from Bullport. And so a few months ago, we came up with this idea of doing a 4-coaster set with the Circuit Playground characters, and SAR would kind of just take the characters and just have fun, and we'd make a coaster set that you can use at home for your coffee, or maybe you put your robot on top of it, or maybe your HomePod or what have you. These coasters are really beautiful. So they're hand drawn by Bullport, and we got like extra thick PCBs. So they're really sturdy. They're not like double thickness, they're like 1.5 thickness. Mm-hmm. They're made with non-marked FR4, so you have to find a factory that like doesn't have any water marking on the FR4. So it's like
yeah.
Like, you do like little things that like nobody cares about, but like we care about. It's a clear copper mask, so it's copper, but then we get a clear mask, so it's protected, but it looks like it's a bare PCB. And then we get gold Enig plating for the highlighting, so it has this bitone look to it. And then we also sometimes on the back there's
oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was both sides.
Yeah, it's both sides.
Let's go to the overhead.
So yeah, you can see that they just look amazing. They've got this kind of cell shady look.
Oh, they look even. I like our photos, but this looks great too.
No, it looks just funny.
Yeah.
The photos are actually a little bit too because the light is so uniform.
Yeah.
But you can see the copper here and then the gold. But the copper, even though it's copper colored, it's masked, so you don't have to worry about it oxidizing because it's got a mask on it. But you just got this highlighting, so you get this really cool bitone look. And then on the back...
Yeah, flip all them over.
Yeah, I'm going to flip them over. You can, this is the back, but you can have these be the front.
Yep.
We've got the gold Adafruit, and then each character has a little...
We want to do this for like 10 years. So I have this list of things for Adafruit. It's like a 100-year plan for Adafruit. And this was one where like one day we'll be able to do these. All right, Carol, these are for you. Happy Valentine's Day.
These are for you.
Thank you.
And they get. Oh, actually something I noticed later.
What?
Bullport's like really cool. So these have the bees are in slightly different locations, so you can tell that you've got the full. Like they go down.
Oh, so you have the full collection.
So you have you have the collection. You can see like they're slightly lower each one. Those sneaky, but I noticed it. And you get 4 little bumpers. You don't have to use them; they don't come applied, but we applied them for you to protect your table. But yeah, they're like nice. You can tell they're like extra thick.
They're gorgeous.
And then they're like really really sweet. So we're gonna do some more projects
I want
and
to shine a NeoPixel on it, like with one of those focus caps, and then like spotlight it like on a Broadway show.
You can hang these. And if you like these kinds of designs, sign up for Bullport's kit subscrition service.
Yeah, there's 2
All those
subscription.
PCBs are beautiful.
There's 2 subscription services I really recommend.
Only 2.
No, there's a lot. Well, I'll say 3. So Bullport. Definitely if you like doing electronics. Comic Book Girl 19. She's currently doing The Watchmen. She reads, reads a comic book and goes through it. She previously did the Dune box subscription.
Oh wow!
This is just like this was made for me, and that was on my list of things to do for Adafruit, so I don't have to do this.
Oh, there you go.
And then HowTunes. Those are 3 really good subscription services for kids.
Okay.
And of course Adabox, so 4, yeah. And the best part is, don't let this happen to you. This does not need to happen to you. You can save your wood furniture from the HomePod.
Okay.
Okay. With
So
that
here's yours.
that's
you.
those are new products I data.
Oh my gosh, they are
Let's
happy.
do the recap. Are you ready? Here we go.
New. All right, we've got this Blinka temporary tattoo, made in the USA. These beautiful, colorful tattoos are easy to apply, last about a week. Yeah, Python. New from PyCom, it's the GPY. This board gives you an ESP32 running MicroPython with an LTE modem built in, so you've got cellular, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth, all with MicroPython. We've got this amazing 64 by 64 LED matrix with 2.5 millimeter pitch. It's really good looking, beautiful, 4,000 LED, mind-blowing pixel power. And you want to drive this matrix. So we've also got the Adafruit RGB matrix bonnet. No one can know what the, what's it saying? Like, no one can know what the matrix bonnet is. You have to see it for yourself.
That's right.
So it's fully assembled. It works great with all of our RGB matrices, and it in particular works great with 64 by 64 matrices. You add it to your Raspberry Pi for matrix driving. And we've got this beautiful set of 4 coasters designed by Sar Drimar of Boldport Design. These are gorgeous clear mask with gold Enig plate PCB coasters. So they're protected, they'll look good for decades, and they'll protect your desk while showing off some wonderful Circuit Playground characters.
Makes so happy.
Yay! These make us so happy.
Okay, don't
true.
forget the code is Athens. The reason why the code is Athens, in 1977, on Valentine's Day, the B-52s formed
Really?
in Athens, Georgia.
Oh.
I kept it together with this Valentine's Day thing.
Okay.
That was like one of the first cassette tapes I
It's
owned.
Love Shack time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not. They don't make bands like B-52s
They do
anymore.
not make bands like B-52.
Rock Lobster.
Yeah.
The
Anyways,
Pixies, like there's definitely,
that's why the code's Athens, because they formed the band Valentine's Day in 1977.
yeah,
Big deal.
definitely this late 70s, 80s rock
Had nothing to
band.
do with airplanes. It's the
thing.
name of the band.
Okay.
Okay. So let's show a top secret, and then we'll get you out of here.
Top secret.
Yeah. All right. From the Adafruit Vault. Lady Ada, what is in your secret vault this week?
My secret vault this week is we got the latest Metro M4. We think this might be the final version of the Metro M4 design, the SAMD51. We're working on CircuitPython 3.0, which will add support for this wonderful Cortex M4 chip. We are using QSPI now, so much faster SPI chip. Fixed up some I2S pins, did some pin rearranging, and we think we're kind of getting ready to maybe do a prototype run.
Nice.
We got chips in.
Is it going to be that color?
I don't know. I mean, we haven't picked a color for it yet.
Purple?
Ruby is red, Adabot is blue. Time to open the vault for a sneak preview. Good.
Oh, nice.
Good job, Mr.
Pretty
Certainty.
good. Mr. Certainly, you're really
All right,
on
this
the
is
ball
good.
there.
I think there's other poems, but
So this is Katniss. She's
Yeah.
going to get this one.
okay.
Nice.
So back in the vault. All right. Well, we're gonna do some questions real quick in Discord, and then we're gonna give some away, and then we're gonna go eat food or something. Okay. Post your questions up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna-
This was a question from before, and so don't forget, it's adafruit.it, adafruit.it, and just /Discord. Carol, what are resources for Python that you recommend as someone who's constantly out there? Like, where do you start first? Never coded Python at all. Just interested in this crazy thing that we keep talking about.
Probably I would say some of the stuff that the Raspberry Pi Foundation does is a really good place to start. Actually, Adafruit's tutorials are something that I frequently refer people to. For people that are trying to level up a little, pyvideo.org has all the Python conference videos and tutorials. So, there's intro to Python and things like that in there as well. So those are all good.
How many of those 64 by 64 matrices can be driven by Raspberry Pi 3?
You can drive any number you want, like infinite, basically, except eventually the refresh rate gets slower. So I think that we've done like 64 by 128, like 2 panels, and it was fine. I think you could probably do up to like 4 of these in a row, but after that, it's just gonna start getting a little flickery because it's not an FPGA driving it. It's
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it's just bit banging. I mean, it's bit banging very fast, but
Right.
I mean, you could go pretty big. People make big walls. I just haven't tried it, but your performance will just slip.
But you could put like a 0 in each of the 4 too, right?
What do you mean?
Like if you had a different Raspberry Pi 0.
Oh yeah, you can
and
have
the bonnet,
each one.
yeah, and drive them independently.
I think, but then you have to sync them.
Yeah.
That's a little bit tough. So I think, yeah, I don't know. I think you could probably drive like 3 or 4 of these panels. I think the powering is going to be the biggest issue. You gotta get
Yeah.
a big ass power supply for that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like a double
Stump
E
the engineer?
No, double E engineer. This is a good one for both of you. Could you use Jupyter notebooks to put code and edit with a Circuit Playground?
To use Jupyter Well, I mean, I use Jupyter Notebooks to control the Circuit Playground.
Yeah.
And I think there's more that I could do with it. Like I made a little Circuit Python kernel, and Tony D has one as well. So you can like tell it light up these lights, or
It runs the code on it, but it's like you don't get access to like NumPy or the plotting.
that you'd have to have on the
Yeah,
laptop.
so that's the
side.
thing. It's like right now it's one or the other. Either you're using your laptop Python or you're using CircuitPython. But I think the idea
Well,
of
both. You could have two windows.
you'd have two windows, right? But it's and you could share data through a file, but it's just not.
Maybe with the
integrated.
WebUSB stuff, there might be some interesting things that could happen.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be able to tell it which side you want to use. I think even just using it as a kernel directly is still useful, because what's nice is that you can have a very long program, and even though it's a slower Python, you're not loading all of it into memory at once.
Actually, we may be making something at Jupyter that might do this.
Okay. Okay, get on that.
So, yeah. it would be great to do it.
Okay. Have we seen the preview of Scratch? Yeah, we've been checking out the latest version. We're gonna play around with
new
it more.
Scratch.
You
Okay.
scratch.
HTML
And
Scratch.
those are the questions for tonight. Good work.
Yay!
Nice. Yay.
We got through these. Okay. Next up, as we finish questions, it's trivia question time. Lady Ada, what do you want to give away?
Yeah, we're going to give away a set of coasters.
Really?
Yeah!
That's a big deal.
I know.
These are nice.
Okay.
the puppets.
What are the rules?
Rules are, if you've won something before, you can't win again. Only one winner per my lifetime. So if you've won something from the show, just go check out Jupyter Notebooks instead.
Yeah.
And it'll be a gift to
Jupyter.org.
yourself. But for anybody else, if you've not won before, when you call the phone number and you wait till I pick up, and I'm going to say hello, and then I'm going to ask you your name and where you're calling from,
Yeah.
and a project that you're working on or you want to work on. And if you're able to answer those 3 questions without hanging up, you'll win a set of 4 coasters. Well,
Don't hang up.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up on me. They do. I think they can't hear me maybe or something. And
They get
The
excited.
phone lines are open.
yeah, so call that, answer the questions, you win coaster set.
Want to swap back?
No.
No, that's okay.
You
I
can
mean,
get
I can reach it.
I'll be all right.
Call this number.
That's the phone number.
I'm not going to make you pick up the phone. That would be like, you pick
Oh
up the phone.
no, I've seen you answer the phone before.
No
That's too much pressure.
It's a lot of work.
You have to remember things.
Okay.
Yep. There we
No, you
go.
can't remember things. It's hard. I'm like, who are you? Who are you again?
Okay.
Two
You can
right.
get it. Yeah.
Hello, you've reached Ask an Engineer, and you're the winner.
Yay!
Yay! Thanks for not hanging up. Can you turn off your computer audio?
Hold on a sec.
Okay.
Sorry, my phone is like way away from my computer.
Okay, no problem. Oh, it just makes it like easier for us. Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Adrian, and I'm calling from Toronto, Canada.
Wow, Adrian from Toronto, Canada. That's awesome.
Happy Valentine's Day, you guys.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
This is like the greatest thing ever.
It is the greatest thing
thing
ever. And we're in it together. Okay, so what's a project you're working on or you want to work on, Adrian?
I want actually to learn how to do like electronics.
Oh.
It's pretty hard.
It is.
So
But you can do it.
watching your show.
But you're going to have these coasters, and you'll be able to put your coffee on them, and it'll inspire you.
I know.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Like make all kinds of stuff and stay awake forever.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to send you your prize, and once you learn something, come on the show and tell and share it. Even if it's just blinking an LED or your first time you typed something in, you can join in the community. We welcome beginners of all types. And,
Fantastic.
Yay! So all you have to do is email support@adafruit.com, SUPPORT, @adafruit.com, and say, hey, it's Adrian from Canada, and I'd like a set of the 4 coasters. I'll send you one of each. And it'll be great. You can keep them to yourself or share them with 3 friends.
All right. Thanks so much. I love you guys.
Okay,
Take care.
have a great Valentine's Day. Good night,
Yay.
Adrian.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, if you want, you can always call the phone number and leave us a nice message. And if you still want to save a few dollars, which is kind of like winning, you can use the code Athens all the way up to 11:59 p.m. tonight, or when I remember to turn it off. That's our show tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carol. Once
You're
again,
welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
yay! You're
On
becoming
Valentine's Day, no less.
Yay! You're becoming a frequent flyer.
Get that yogurt card punch.
All right. Well,
yeah.
thank you everyone in our community. Thank you all of our Adafruit team members here and remote. We're here every single week, 8 p.m. Ask an Engineer, show and tell, 7:30. tonight we're going to be playing a song, and I'm going to have, it's from Bartle Beats. We're going to start doing this. We're going to have a different track from a musician every week. So on our way out while we're cleaning up here, I'm going to play that.
All right.
So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Here's a picture of us with the cat.
Aww.
And here is your moment of Zener.